So prior to October 7th, I knew some things. Um, I knew that Israel had a brutal occupation of Palestine. I knew that um, it would not be unusual for somebody who had never been to Israel, right? An American, uh, Argentinian, right? Like just someone who'd never been to Palestine or to Palestine, to Israel before. If they could um, use, if you're American, right? Well, actually, we're paying for anybody in any country to American taxpayers are paying for anybody to go to Israel. So if an American in decides that he wants to move to Israel, has never been to Israel before, American taxpayers foot the bill for him to move there. And when he moves there, it is very common that they will go to a Palestinian home and kill or kick out the occupants from a house that those people have lived at possibly for generations, right? Because Israel has created this right of return um, for somebody who's never even been to the land. And in their right of return, they can kill or kick out the literal indigenous people. So I had seen some stuff. I had seen the Israel calls them the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, but really they're the IOF, the Israeli Occupational Forces. And I had seen just this really sad situation where Israelis put their children in soldier uniforms and then have them go and bully Palestinian children. So as soon as Palestinian children start going to school at age 5, the Israeli occupation force, their whole role is to make sure those kids feel subjugated, to make sure that they feel like they are under the thumb of Israel. So these grown men, but boys, right? Like 16, 17, 18-year-old Israeli children will be put in military uniforms with military rifle, and their job as a group of military people is to go bully 5-year-olds. And they are actually taught to break bones. They have targeted children for shooting practice and just shot and killed them. And this can all be found online. You see, if you go to um, YouTube and do a search, or even on TikTok, you see very, very real examples of Israeli soldiers bullying old Palestinians, children Palestinians. But that's not the only place that there's proof, right? There's um, this organization called um, uh, Breaking the Silence, which are Israel. Like once some of the Israeli children were in this position and they were doing these things, they realized how horrible they were. And when they got out, they were like, this is so morally wrong. We need to do whatever we can to fight against it. And so if you go to the silence, that's another way to learn about this. And finally, it's just really, really well documented, right? Like Amnesty International, um, several children's humanitarian organizations have documented that Israelis will just round up Palestinian children and arrest them and then hold them in military jails. Or they will, they'll hold them in military jails, or they will like in with no defined term, right? A lot of times they won't charge them. Sometimes they can stay for years. They are bullied. They are kept in solitary confinement. The parents don't know where they are. What I have discovered since October 7th, as I have done like a deep dive into all of the actual documentation, every PhD, like all of the PhD poli scientists, some of the most world renowned, most respected poli sci economists, professors, anybody that has spent a lifetime studying this will tell you that the Palestinian population has been brutally, brutally ethnically cleansed, slaughtered, and occupied for 75 years. The Israeli narrative completely falls apart as soon as you start reading anything. Nothing supports the Israeli narrative. It is smoke and mirrors, it is lies, and it is horrific. And it is sad because there is so much that went into what we're seeing right now. But so little of what we're seeing right now has anything to do with the Jewish religion. I have been, when this happened, and then I just read and I consumed, and I just got more and more horrified. I was like, I cannot be quiet on this. I cannot not speak up. This is so profoundly morally wrong that, like, I could not act. And I didn't know what to do at first, and I just kind of looked around, and I ended up on with a couple of peace activists, peace groups that I really liked. One was Jewish Voice for Peace, and then the other was Code Pink. But I've worked alongside Doctors Against Genocide, Doctors Without Borders, U.S. Campaign for Palestinians. The key thing about most of what you see is just a massive number of the people who are peace activists fighting for the rights of Palestinians are Jewish people, right? They are moral, Jewish, kind, compassionate people. And because they are peace activists resisting Israel's brutal and violent occupation, they are labeled anti-Semitic. So that it's just crazy, And then B, what is really upsetting is there are many places, because of American law, that we are able to see what is contributed to our politicians, who is contributing, who is lobbying, where the money is coming from. Almost all of our politicians on both sides and state politics have been bought and paid for by a foreign country. Trump received 90 million from a very extreme Zionist Sands Casino owner, Adelson. He received 90 million. And then Biden has received 93 million from another very pro-Zionist billionaire, Bloomberg. And Bloomberg is the one who was like, because he bought and paid for our government, right? That all of this aid that goes to Israel must have no conditions on it. That was put forth by the person, the pro-Zionist billionaire that bought and paid for Biden. Outside of Biden, almost all of our senators, all of our representatives. If you ever in your head are like, why are all of our senators and our congressmen zealously cheering on the slaughter of children with no weapons? Well, it's because they've been bought off. As has CNN, who a story just came out that they have to go to the IDF in order to have the IDF okay their stories. Is pretty obvious with Wall Street Journal and Washington Post. Like all of our major news sources just fall in line with this state lie, really, with this government lie about things. So as American, I think that's incredibly concerning, right? And again, please look it up yourself, like opensecrets.org. You can go and you'll see all of this. They write bills for the senators. They tell the senators what to say. They tell the congressmen what to say, right? It's just, I don't know. I just think we should all be screaming stop because it's horrible.